Around Major League Baseball on this April 15th, we honor Jackie Robinson, the first African-American to play in Major League Baseball. He played first base when he broke in, not second, and he is elected to the Hall of Fame. As fans enter Great American Ballpark on this Friday night, they are greeted by clouds overhead. That's the bad news. The good news is there will be baseball, the first of this four-game series between the Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it's Jackie Robinson Day. 42 retired all across baseball. Everybody tonight from the Pirates and the Reds will be sporting number 42. Hi and a pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball and inside our Champion Windows broadcast booth. I'm Jim Kelch, along with Chris Welsh. Chris, the Reds left in first place. They come home in first place after a 3-3 road trip. Overall, not too bad.
Well, not too bad. You know, talked to Dusty Baker about it earlier, Jim, and he thought, boy, it could have been 5-1 if a lot of things happened. But, you know, you go on the road, especially the West Coast, where the Reds have not done well over the last few years. You come back at 500, you're in first place. You got to be feeling good about coming home.
Well, they have the right-hander Bronson Arroyo on the mound tonight, and so they have to feel good about him. Arroyo 2-0 going into tonight's start.
He's been lights out, and I expect him to throw the same way tonight.
Bronson Arroyo, when we come back, we'll take a closer look. It's the start of the second homestand of the year. The Reds and the Pirates, a 4-game series. It did rain some this afternoon, and for more on tonight's weather, let's go to Michelle Boudelet from WKRC TV. Michelle.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a soggy evening at the ballpark. We've got rain in the forecast from the beginning to the end of the game. Periods of rain early, more widespread rain late, and temperatures in the 50s. Enjoy it.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Bronson Arroyo on the mound tonight, 2-0 thus far, Chris, for the Reds.
Well, he's not only 2-0. You see the record he's had against the Pittsburgh Pirates his last 6 times out. He's run that record to 5 wins against 1 loss. He's been outstanding against his Pirate ball club, and his control this year has been great. He has not walked a batter yet in the 2011 season. In fact, you go back to 2 games in last season before you find that he's actually issued a base on balls. 4 straight starts in a row. No bases on balls for Bronson Arroyo. That's attacking the strike zone.
Well, we mentioned the Reds are starting their second homestand of the season. The first one was awfully good at 5-1, so we'll see what happens on this one. State Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By Cincinnati USA. Come for the Reds, stay for the fun. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Great American Ballpark, the venue for tonight's game. The Pirates come in for the first of a 4-game series. They'll be in here one other time in May for 2 games, and so that's one of the reasons we hope the weather holds here tonight as the Pirates and the Reds get together for the first time this year. We take a look at the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates, put out there by their first-year manager, Clint Hurdle, Andrew McCutchen, Jose Tabata, who's been very hot this year, Lyle Overbay. The middle 3 include Neil Walker, Pedro Alvarez, and Garrett Jones. And then Chris Snyder, just off the DL, does the catching. Ronnie Cedeno, and the pitcher is Charlie Morton. On the mound for the Reds, right-hander Bronson Arroyo, and every time you mention Arroyo, it seems like this year, Chris, you mention, of course, he has mono, and so these are tough starts for him. And tonight, I guess, is a good one for him because the weather's a little bit cooler.
Well, I guess so, but I'm not so sure how much it can get better for Bronson Arroyo. He has been outstanding, easily the best starting pitcher the Reds have run out there so far through 2 starts this year. Picked up a win against Milwaukee, picked up a win on the road against the Arizona Diamondbacks, throwing a lot of strikes. That's the way he's been getting it done so far.
Andrew McCutchen will lead things off for the Pittsburgh club as they come in here having just completed a 1-5 homestand. They went 1-3 against Colorado, had one game at home against Milwaukee rained out, and lost yesterday. In fact, they scored a run in the 9th inning last night, snapping a streak of 22 consecutive innings without scoring.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that, Jim, is that a lot of people who watched this ball club in spring training predicted that they would score some runs, but it would be their starting pitching that would expose them through the end of the year, or throughout the course of the season, that is. They've got some good players. You're looking at a very good one right here in Andrew McCutchen.
He comes into this game at 220, and he's one of a group of youngsters on this team. McCutchen, a fellow behind him, Tabata, and Neil Walker and Pedro Alvarez, 25 or younger, that makes up the core of this club.
Well, way out ahead of that one was Andrew McCutchen, and so far in his career he's faced Bronson Arroyo 9 times and he has yet to have a hit. Arroyo really feeds him a variety of different speeds on his breaking ball, change-ups. You know, McCutchen's a dead red fastball hitter. Very quick hands, good bat speed. If you throw him a fastball, he'll turn on it. Arroyo probably will go mostly with the off-speed stuff. There's a fastball and snuck it by him. How about that?
Over the inside corner, and a good start for Bronson Arroyo as he gets Andrew McCutchen for out number 1.
Well, McCutchen has to be thinking about the same thing that I talked about how Arroyo's gone after him through the course of his short career here. Change-ups, breaking balls, sidearm curveballs, and, you know, just when you're looking for the curveball, that's when he throws you a fastball on the black.
Here is Jose Tabata. He's their left fielder. Bronson starts him off with a strike. 42, as we mentioned a couple of times, Chris, for everyone in uniform on both sides tonight, as Major League Baseball honors the late Jackie Robinson. And it feels funny for most of these guys, I would bet. And no names on the back.
You know, once you put your uniform on, though, you don't even realize what it says. What you do know what it says is that it says Reds on the front. You want to honor that, obviously, and even more so tonight with wearing number 42 on the back.
Tabata gets the base hit, so the first base runner of this game is a base hit. Let's take a look now at our 4 defensive look for the Cincinnati Reds. Gomes, Stubbs, Bruce, the normal outfield set. Roland and Renteria on the left side. There's Miguel Cairo starting in place of Brandon Phillips at second base. Votto at first, and Arroyo and Hannigan the battery. Cairo in there because Phillips still feeling the effects of a right groin strain or pull, whatever happened late in the game in the 8th inning out in San Diego on Wednesday afternoon. And it's a rarity for Brandon to be out of there. It's the first time this year that he has not started.
Well, he does not like missing a start. Talked to him before the ball game down in the clubhouse, and of course the guys are taking batting practice inside. Brandon was taking batting practice like he would play. He said, you know what, I could play. If it was up to me, I'd have my name in the lineup. But Dusty Baker would not do it, would not risk it, especially on a night where you could have a wet field and you've already have a groin strain. And the way he did it was when he tried to plant his foot to throw. You know, you do that in wet grass and it goes out from underneath it. Now you've really got a problem that could put you on the list for a while.
Yeah, the play occurred when Aroldis Chapman overthrew first on a pickoff play, and the ball went off the sidewall and headed toward right field. He left the game after the 8th on Wednesday out in San Diego. Cairo came in, and Miguel gets his first start of the season tonight. 8 stolen bases for the Pirates this year, and you could see 6 of them for the man on first, Tabata. Tabata is one of their young guns, but he's not a homegrown product like McCutchen, like Walker, like Alvarez. He was acquired from the Yankees, pardon me, from the Atlanta Braves in a Nate McLouth deal. Bronson Arroyo faced this Pirates club 3 times last year, had a couple of wins against them. 6-4 in his career against the Pirates, the team that drafted him years ago. Throw is to the shortstop side of the bag, and that allows Tabata to get in there with his 7th stolen base of the year.
You know, I'm not even so certain that a perfect throw would have gotten him, because he got a big jump and he picked a perfect pitch to go on. It was a changeup by Bronson Arroyo, and really didn't give Hannigan much of a chance. You know, in retrospect, a perfect throw would have gotten him, but that's the chance you take.
Matt Kemp leads the National League with 8 stolen bases. That for Tabata, number 7. The Pirates with an opportunity here in the top of the first. Lyle Overbay brings a 4-game hitting streak into this game.
Overbay, back from Toronto. He previously played for Arizona and Milwaukee, now on his 4th team. And he spent the last 4 or 5 years in Toronto. So he hasn't faced Bronson Arroyo very much. He's only faced him 3 times overall. But he's the kind of hitter in this lineup that could give Arroyo some problems. A left-hander, pretty good off-speed hitter. He waits for the ball very well. And you can see now with 2 strikes, he's just trying to spoil some good pitches.
He's one of many, many additions to this club from a year ago, as he takes ball 4 and joins Tabata on the bases. So that's the first walk issued this year by Bronson Arroyo in 13 1/3 innings.
Yeah, you know, and that might be one of those situational walks where you think, all right, here I am 3-2. You got a guy with home run power. It's early in the ball game. I'm not going to just groove one right here and see how far Lyle Overbay can hit it, because he can hit it in the river. He is that strong. So you make a pitch, you try to hit your spot. If you miss it, you've got a base opener first, and maybe you can roll a double play out of the next guy.
Here's the switch hitting Neil Walker. And off to a good start this year. This Pirates club began the season on the road. Their first-year manager, Clint Hurdle, the former skipper at Colorado, took them to the World Series in 2007 as a wild card team. Remember that crazy run they had at the end of that year just to get into the postseason. They swept Philadelphia in the first round. They swept Arizona in the NLCS that year, and then were swept by Boston after going all those years without winning a World Series. Then won their 2nd in 4. They get 1. And they do not get the second one at first base. Nicely done by Renteria, and a good job of hustling over there by Bronson Arroyo.
Well, this ball is struck very hard. It goes right into the glove of Joey Votto, who turns right away and fires it to Renteria. Plenty of time right there. Arroyo is there in time, but the ball's just down a little bit. And Neil Walker running, trying to make sure that he doesn't get caught into a double play, just is able to beat this one out. That's a good play by Arroyo right there, because you're running at the bag. I mean, that looks easy at home, but as a pitcher that has tried to do that before, you're running over there, you're getting a ball from almost behind you, and you've got this runner bearing down on you, and you want to make sure that you're on the inside part of the bag, and you give a little bit of the bag to the runner, or else he's going to run you right over. Meanwhile, there's a man on third base, so you've got to be alert that Jose Tabata just doesn't keep running around third base and try to score one on you.
Yeah, you're basically, aren't you, trying to find the base without looking at it?
Well, hopefully you get over there early enough and fast enough that you found it first, but sometimes that's the plan. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that.
Batter is Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez off to a less than stellar start at 196. He's driven in 4 runs. They have used by and large the same lineup day in, day out here in the first couple of weeks of the season. Nice pick by Renteria to his left. They get the force out at second, ending the top of inning number 1. So good start for the Reds on the second homestand here at GABP. we'll get a look at the right-hander Charlie Morton, and here's what he will face this evening. Drew Stubbs leads off. Edgar Renteria in there at short, making his 4th start of the year. Then Votto, Roland, Gomes, and Bruce in the middle. Miguel Cairo getting his 1st start of the year at second base. And then Hannigan and Arroyo round out the bottom of the lineup. Here's Charlie Morton, the right-hander, who was one of 5 pitchers for the Pirates last year who lost in double figures.
Well, he would like to forget about last year, and if Charlie Morton is smart, he'd have a short memory. He had a horrible year. He was 2-12 last year, earned run average north of 7.5, but he's a different pitcher this year. Throwing the ball much better, much more confident. And if you ask the hitters around, even though he was 2-12 last year, you know, these guys will say this guy's nasty. Got great stuff, moving fastball, nice breaking ball. And he's a lot better than a 2-12 record.
He jumps out ahead of Stubbs, 2 strikes and nothing. Drew 265 by way of an average, couple of home runs. One of those came on the road trip in San Diego.
He's just firing that fastball up there right now.
Stubbs has been a streaky hitter this year. He got off to a good start, 8 for 20, then went into a 1 for 20 drought. Last couple of games, 4 out of 7. Renteria to Votto, then Joey Votto. Stubbs has played. He's played every game but 1 this year. He has been in the leadoff spot. Reds were able to get the best of this Pirates team last year in the season series, and that says a lot because they did not get off to a good start against them, going to Pittsburgh early and being swept. They ended up then after that winning 10 of the last 13 and going 10-6.
Well, that was a miserable 3-game series in Pittsburgh. It was cold, it was rainy, there was nobody in the stands, and all of a sudden you look up, you've lost 3 games, and you say, how the heck did that happen?
Well, they did get a good answer to that later. They swept the series there, also swept the Pirates in a series here. It was any way you look at it, a terrible year for Pittsburgh. They lost 105 games. On a 2-2 pitch, Stubbs gets things off to a good start for the Reds with a solid single into center. Here's the defensive look, the forward defensive look for the Pirates behind the right-hander Charlie Morton. Tabata, McCutchen, and Jones. Jones has moved from first base to the outfield with the addition of Lyle Overbay at first base. Walker and Cedeno in the middle with Alvarez at the corner and Charlie Morton. And Chris Snyder just activated from the disabled list. Back behind the plate. He began the year on the DL due to lower back stiffness. Here's Edgar Renteria. Makes his 4th start of the year, all at short. Dusty Baker was asked prior to the game, did he think about playing Renteria at second today instead of Brandon Phillips? He said in effect that Renteria really is his 3rd second baseman behind Phillips and Cairo. And Cairo, I guess, would be his 3rd shortstop behind Renteria at number 2 and Giannis number 1.
Now, there's nothing wrong with Paul Giannis. He just happens to be getting a night off.
Renteria's done a very good job in the time that he has been in there. I mentioned he's making his 4th start of the year. He had a 3-for-3 game here against Houston, a 2-for-3 game in Arizona. In fact, he comes into this one having hit in 4 games in a row. All working over those sunflower seeds. Stubbs got a pretty good jump, and he will get the stolen base, his 3rd of the season.
And that is the 13th stolen base for the Reds. They really have spread out their stolen base guys all over the place. Stubbs now with 3 of them on the year. He's got more than anybody else in the ball club. But this is a running Reds team, no doubt about it, and he's the leader of them all.
13th of the year for the Reds. And now an opportunity here in the bottom of the 1st to jump in front in this game early.
with Charlie Morton really trying to sink that fastball. Watch the catcher, Chris Snyder. When he gives a sign back there, he'll put his index finger down. It's wrapped a little bit with white tape, and he'll wiggle it just slightly. That's the sinking fastball. He wants a two-seamer. Now with a man on second base, I haven't figured him out yet.
Renteria trying to go the other way. Fouled that one out of play. Charlie Morton has made a couple of quality starts in his first 2 outings this year with the Pirates. He went 6, allowed 1 run, 3 hits in his first start at St. Louis in a 4-3 win on the 4th. And then against Colorado at home, allowed 3 runs, only 2 earned in 7 innings. But clearly his problem has been the exact opposite of what Bronson Arroyo has done, and that is he has walked 10 in 13 innings coming in.
Yeah, he's made some major adjustments to his delivery. Now, unless you've really been a Charlie Morton fan or a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, you might not notice it, but he's dropped his arm angle significantly from where it was last year. He was really over the top, and the ball was a little bit straighter than it is now. He was playing catch one time in spring training this year when his pitching coach, Ray Searage, was watching him and said, "Hey, Charlie, that's a good hook right there, folks. Why don't you go ahead and drop your arm angle a little bit and just see what it feels like?" So they started having him drop his arm angle, and all of a sudden the ball exploded on him. He really would sink nice. His breaking ball was still good, but he's still trying to figure out exactly his release point. And talking to Clint Hurl, the manager, before the game, he said, you know what, those walks are a little bit deceptive because he's not all over the place. That sinking fastball is moving so much on him, it's hard for him to control right now. And for a pitcher, that's a good problem to have.
He did a great job of getting Renteria. Now must deal with the reigning MVP, Joey Votto, who had a very good road trip for the Reds. In fact, comes in at 444. Tied for first in the league with Matt Kemp of the Dodgers. Votto went 11 of 22 with a home run during the recent 6-game road trip. Overall, he's hit 2 out, and he's driven in 7.
It's funny, Joey Votto being left-handed, you figure against Morton, a guy that was 2-12 last year, that Votto would really have pretty good average against him. But he is only 1 for 10 lifetime against Morton. With a base open, you really wonder whether Morton's going to give him anything good to hit, but that was a hittable fastball that Votto fouled back.
Joey has reached base in all 12 games played by the Reds this year. Hit safely in 11 of them. He's just really come out of the gate quickly.
Yeah, you run that count now to 3-1, and the last thing that he's going to give Joey Votto is a fastball down Broadway. His bread and butter pitch is that sinker, and he'll throw that probably down and away right here. He's not going to try to trick Votto. He's going to make a good pitch. If it goes for a strike, great. If not, you've got a base open.
There is ball 4, and so the walk issued to Votto puts him on with Stubbs here in the first. The batter will be Scott Rowland. Rowland did not play in the wrap-up Wednesday in San Diego, and then, of course, the off day yesterday, and that's all by design. Dusty trying to get the veteran as much rest as possible.
Well, you know, you rest him now, and you hope that he'll be strong in August and September when perhaps you need him down the stretch. The good news is the Reds have capable backup guys that have filled in nicely. Juan Francisco making some real nice defensive plays on this last road trip.
Rowland hitting only .231, but he's driven in 10 and has an RBI chance here in the bottom of the first. Down in the zone, and Scott didn't get it.
Yeah, look at the action on that fastball, though. That's really what every pitcher and pitching coach would love. I mean, when you throw 93 with action like this, it looks like it's going to be outside, and the ball sinks and moves. In fact, it moves so much it goes down out of the strike zone. That is a hard, nasty, sinking fastball.
There's one and another. An inning-ending double play hit into by Scott Rowland. So both teams have a chance. Neither score in the first. We'll head to the second. 0-0. By Elk and Elk.
Well, the concern they have about Aroldis Chapman, you have to wonder about it. I mean, here's a guy that was only throwing, 92, 93 miles an hour. There's Ramon Hernandez talking to him, saying, hey, is there something going on here? In fact, Ramon Hernandez talked to the press after the ball game, as did Paul Lessard, as did Dusty Baker. And there is a little bit of concern about Aroldis Chapman right now, about that little elbow. He's got a little elbow tenderness, and something that the Reds are going to keep their eye on.
Our game storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. That was a disgruntled look on the face of Aroldis Chapman, wasn't it?
Well, maybe a perplexed look. I thought it was an interesting look in conversation with Ramon Hernandez. You don't often hear a catcher coming right out and saying, hey, it looks like there's something wrong. I mean, especially when a guy's still throwing 91 to 93 miles an hour. But for Chapman, that's 10% off his normal speed range. And when you signed him to be a pitcher that can throw around 100 miles an hour and he's not getting anywhere close to that, then it is something that you take a look at. No cause for real worry, but that's cause for worry.
Garrett Jones has launched one into the seats out in right field, a home run, his second of the year, and the Pirates get the early advantage, 1-0 here in the top of the second.
Well, a year or so ago, Garrett Jones was a number 3 or 4 hitter in this lineup. He's moved down the lineup right there. That looks like a little bit of a slider that Bronson Arroyo wants to work down and hit the hitter in the back foot. He gets it around knee high, and that is a wheelhouse spot for Garrett Jones.
He's driven in 2 runs, both on solo shots, and the Pirates have jumped in front 1-0 here in the top of number 2.
Hey, they're hitting the ball pretty hard so far against Bronson Arroyo. Now, Arroyo's the kind of pitcher to make a lot of adjustments. But right now, tonight, with the number of left-handers who can hit in this lineup, like Overbay and Alvarez and Garrett Jones, that changeup is going to be tested mightily tonight.
Chris Snyder, we mentioned, just coming back off the disabled list. He played yesterday, and in that game against Colorado went 0 for 2, so he's back in there. Jason Jaramillo was catching early in the season while Snyder was rehabbing. That ball hit hard, and that'll be extra bases down into the left field corner. And the first hit of the year for Chris Snyder gives them another runner in scoring position.
Well, that's an 0-2 pitch right there. Definitely a mistake pitch, because Bronson Arroyo wanted to throw a 4-seam fastball around chin level. Watch Brian Hannigan right here. He's going to move up, and he says, I want that ball up here. Well, we'll see where Arroyo throws that pitch. Instead of up really high, he pretty much throws it belt high, and down the line it goes, an 0-2 double. Those are the kind of pitches you love to get back, but you don't.
Here's Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop. He's the number 8 hitter in the Pirate lineup. Defensively for the Reds, the corners are both in. Roland is in on the edge of the grass. Votto right now even with first base. Pirates have jumped in front on a Garrett Jones solo home run. Cedeno, one of the many players that have gotten off to a slow start on this team, hitting just 188. He's under 200. Jones hitting 172 at the start of the day. Alvarez under 200. McCutchen not much further over the 200 mark. They come in as a team hitting 223, and hard to fathom an on-base percentage under 300. Showed Clint Hurdle there in the dugout. He was the hitting coach with a very successful Texas Rangers team a year ago and replaces John Russell here. And as we mentioned, that Pirate team a year ago was 57 and 105, the 8th 100-plus losing season in their franchise's history. They come into this game at 5-7, 2 under. 3 games behind the first place Reds.
You know, they've got such a legacy for losing in baseball over in Pittsburgh that, you know, you lose a certain generation of fan. The pressure, though, the win this year, not on Clint Hurdle, but I can tell you the difference. You walk in that Pittsburgh clubhouse, it is a completely different atmosphere this year than it was last year and the year before. I mean, guys they're a little more relaxed, even though they're going through a very tough time.
Is it what he brings to that clubhouse?
I think so. I think the coaching staff and what he brings to it, and they brought in some new players, and they know that it's going to be one step at a time. It's a tough rebuilding process, you know, in any division, but especially on a team that doesn't have a lot of money to spend, and they hope that the draft picks come through. But he brings a very positive atmosphere, does Clint Hurdle. I mean, the guy is just glass half full all the time.
Playable in foul ground, and Joey makes the catch for the first out here in the top of the second. So the pitcher Charlie Morton will be up there, and when you talk about this Pittsburgh team, they have the record in team sports, major league team sports, of having 18 consecutive losing seasons. 18 consecutive years in which they have not been able to finish above the 500 mark. They haven't had a winning year since 1992.
Well, the Pirates are third in that town when it comes to sports. They may even be fourth. I mean, obviously, first it's a Steeler town. Secondly, it's a Penguins town. And in fact, the Pens are in the playoffs right now. One reason why the Pirates aren't even televising tonight back to Pittsburgh, because they don't want to go opposite the hockey playoffs. And then third, maybe it's a toss-up between the Pirates and Pitt football. Who knows? But you know, it's a town that has tradition for hockey and for football, and the Pirates are trying to get back on a winning note, but it's going to be a long haul.
Arroyo will throw out his opposite number at first. Morton credited with a sacrifice as Miguel Cairo takes the throw, and so there are 2 men out. Snyder over third will head back to the top of the order. And you talk about Pittsburgh and trying to get that tradition back with baseball. They had some incredible teams back in the 70s.
Yeah, well, not even only in the 70s, but even later than that. But the We Are Family team back in the 70s, you know, with the John Candelaria and that crowd, those guys captured a whole city. And they almost they were a rough and tumble type of an atmosphere in that group, and they were so good. Actually, if it weren't for the Cincinnati Reds and the Big Red Machine beating them a couple of times in the playoffs to get to the World Series, the Pittsburgh Pirates might be the team that people remember as the team of the 70s instead of the Cincinnati Reds. They were that good.
The last time the Reds won the World Series, 1990, they beat the Pirates on the way there in that first series, which was a very, very good series. They defeated Pittsburgh 4-2. It was a better series, really, in terms of competition than actually the World Series was with Oakland. See the wind whipping around the blonde locks of Bronson Arroyo. Appears to be gusting out toward the river.
Might need a little more product on that hair.
You sharing yours? Are you offering up yours?
I used to wear it all the time. I probably have some left over. How about you?
I don't use hair products, sir. Don't even know what it is.
Well, maybe you ought to start.
Is there a bus around here that I didn't see?
Those are the worst kind, the ones you don't see coming, Jim.
Working McCutchen in, and he fouled that ball.
That was a curveball that McCutchen figured he might get on a 3-1 count, knowing that Bronson Arroyo is not going to sneak a fastball by him on a hitter's count. And he just kind of hung it right up there. And man, oh man, Arroyo got away with one there.
McCutchen, third full year in the big leagues. He had 286 in back-to-back years. Almost clipped the runner down there at third base. Chris Snyder. Reds have this Pirates group in for 4. Then the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3. That'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon. That'll be the end of the season series against Arizona very early. Nicely done by Bronson Arroyo to get McCutchen for the second time looking in this game. To the bottom of the second inning, Dome's Bruce Cairo due up against the right-hander Charlie Morton.
We mentioned about how Charlie Morton has changed his pitching delivery. On the left is last year, on the right is this year, and the difference is very slight. But if you take a really good look at it, you'll see that he has dropped his arm angle just very slightly from last year to this year. And because of that, the ball moves a little bit more. He feels more free and easy with his pitching delivery. And his breaking ball is still there. But most of all, he's throwing that sinking fastball down in the zone with a lot of action.
You gets Gomes to start things here in the bottom of inning number 2. Johnny's another one who's had a good start in the RBI department with 10. Cheating up the middle was the second baseman Neil Walker, and that pays off as they get Johnny at first base.
Well, they get him by a step there, right there. Johnny Gomes runs much better than people think he does, and he came into camp in shape. He stays in shape. The guy runs hard and plays hard every out. I'm telling you what, he's smelling a base hit right here. Young man that came up playing center field and shortstop. In fact, he told me just about every team he ever played on, he was always the fastest guy. He's down the list on this one.
No question about that. Here's Jay Bruce, who struggled mightily on the road trip for the Reds. 3 out of 19. They really need to get this guy going. It was game 13 that he hit his first home run 1 year ago. This is game 13 this year. Overall at 220, he's driven in 3. Walker will get his second assist of this inning. 2 men out. Time now for our Geico quote. That comes from Branch Rickey. Says ethnic prejudice has no place in sports, and baseball must recognize that truth if it is to maintain stature as a national game. Branch Rickey, former general manager of the old Brooklyn Dodgers. He's the man, of course, who brought Jackie Robinson into baseball, the man that all of Major League Baseball honors on this Friday, April the 15th. 64 years ago, 1947, he made his big league debut with the Brooklyn club, and as I mentioned in the open, he made it as a first baseman. Eddie Stanky was playing second base in those days for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Jackie actually started that year at first base.
I imagine Jackie Robinson could have played any position on the field.
Now there's a guy that had some speed. One of the most famous video shots of him is that swipe of home plate.
It is indeed. And there is Branch Rickey to your right, signing Jackie Robinson. The day that changed the game of baseball.
Cut off by Cedeno, and 3 ground ball outs is what the Reds get here in the bottom of the second against Charlie Morton. 1-0 Pirates after 2. Minutes before every game with the Emmy Award winning Reds live here on Fox Sports Ohio. You can join Jim Day and Jeff Porcaro as they set you up for the game. Then popular Tech Talk series with Chris Welsh is there each day to teach you the finer points of this great game of baseball. Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Arroyo to work in the third. He gets Jose Tabata. I told you earlier, Tabata was acquired from Atlanta. He was actually acquired from the Yankees near the trading deadline of 2008. Jeff Carstens, Ross Ohlendorf, Daniel McCutchen in that deal, all still with the Pirates. That deal sent Xavier Nady and Damaso Marte to New York. Either around there any longer. Tabata is part of that young group that we mentioned earlier, 25 or younger. McCutchen, Tabata, Walker, Alvarez. In fact, that group in 2010 had the third best tandem of 25-year-olds in the National League in terms of their batting average at 282. Colorado had the best, Cardinals second best, Pirates third, and the Reds actually were fourth. Bruce will drift back and make the catch on this ball. Boy, you got to battle the wind in those outfield spots tonight, don't you?
Yeah, the wind is not blowing out tonight. It's blowing in. The flag's coming in hard from center field, but it'll swirl a little bit in the outfield, make it very difficult, you know, for an outfielder who takes his eye off the ball to come back and exactly judge it.
It's dinner time, so why not think about Papa John's? Better ingredients, better pizza. Order online at papajohns.com tonight. Here is Lyle Overbay. A walk his first time.
Yeah, also it looks like it's affecting the breaking ball of Bronson Arroyo. You know, pitchers would prefer the wind in their face rather than at their back. The more that it's at their back, the less wind resistance you have on the spin of the ball, and consequently your curveball doesn't break as much. Knuckleball pitchers the same way. They'd rather have a slight wind in their face rather than a big wind straight behind you. Of course, there's something to be said for having the wind blowing in. You don't give up as many taters,
particularly in this ballpark. Overbay's a big, strong fellow, isn't he? Imposing figure as he stands up there. Playing him to right center. He gets the base hit, but Jay Bruce does a nice job of getting over and cutting that ball off. And so Overbay keeps his hitting streak alive at 5.
Well, they've gotten some pretty good swings on Bronson Arroyo. He doesn't seem to be locating his pitches exactly where he wants to. And Overbay picks on that changeup that he tries to feather on the outside corner. It catches too much of the plate. The big guy with a long swing drives it into right center field. He's been on base twice.
Here's the Pittsburgh native Neil Walker, former #1 pick, and they have a number of them on this club. Walker, after struggling for years in the minor leagues, 2004 through 2009, really finally at the end of that year had a chance to play with the Pirates and hit under 200. But last year, 110 games, hit 296 with a dozen homers, 66 RBIs.
Well, he's a hometown boy, born in Pittsburgh. He was drafted out of high school, #1 by the Pirates back in 2004. Pine Richland High School. Switch hitter.
Looked like for the longest time he just wasn't going to quite make it. Finally last year. And you look at him and he's still only 25.
Well, he has some pretty good bloodlines. Neil Walker's father, Tom Walker, he pitched in the big leagues in the early 70s. 4 different ball clubs back from 1972 to 1977. His uncle Chip played in the majors a little bit in 75 and 76. His older brother is in professional baseball with the Tigers, and now I think he's with the Orioles organization. And his other older brother was a pitcher in college.
So when they get together at the holidays, they talk baseball.
And his sister Carrie was a hoopster when she went to Wagner College. So they've got an athletic family, no doubt.
Neil Walker then and Brandon Phillips can get together and talk women's basketball. Brandon's sister drafted in the WNBA draft this past week by San Antonio.
You know, I put a crack research staff on that, wondering how many baseball players had a sister who was in the WNBA. And from what I found out, there was just one other. I had it written down. I'm going to look it up and give it to you.
Walker stays alive with that foul ball.
Ask me next inning.
Will do, sir. The crack staff is out having dinner, I take it.
You did say it was dinner time. They're either doing that or getting you a little hair product.
I'll donate that right to you if you don't mind.
The other one, from what we can tell, is Scott Bullitt. Now, Scott Bullitt played for the Pirates in 1991 and 93. And also for the Cubs in 95 and 96. And I'm going to have to look up his sister's name. But right now we can tell that Brandon Phillips and Scott Bullitt are the only major league players who've had sisters who play in the WNBA.
Stubbs reads it and makes the catch, and there are 2 out. There's Brandon's sister, Portia Phillips. She was a first-team All-SEC player this year, leading them in rebounding and free throw percentage. 3rd pick, 30th overall. San Antonio's where she'll play this summer. That league starts up in about a month or so.
Well, she hasn't signed yet. Brandon said that she probably will sign. Well, she's got that Phillips $1 million smile, though, doesn't she?
She sure does.
Great story.
Alvarez shoots the gap out in left center. That's going to send Overbay to 3rd, and he will pull up there. 2nd and 3rd with 2 out is Pedro Alvarez, who came in at 196, gets the 2nd hit of the inning and the 5th of this game against Arroyo.
Well, we talked about Neil Walker being a #1 draft pick. You're looking at another one right here in Pedro Alvarez, drafted #1 out of Vanderbilt University. And that's a pretty good lick that he put on that baseball to go to left center field. Nice swing, anticipating something on the outer part of the plate, and he went with it.
So Garrett Jones, who drove in the only run of this game thus far, is up there now. And with that, Bronson will get a visit from behind the plate and Ryan Hannigan.
A really great story about Pedro Alvarez. He was raised in New York. Family didn't have much money. His father was a livery driver. And here he gets drafted by the Boston Red Sox out of high school in the 14th round. And they offer him $775,000 a sign. And his father advised him. His father's driving a cab. His father advised him, turn it down, go to college. He had a full ride at Vanderbilt. He took the full ride at Vanderbilt, worked on his game, ended up being a first-round draft pick for the Pirates out of there, and ended up with a major league contract worth $6.5 million out of college.
That's called rolling the dice, isn't it?
Well, that's called following your dad's advice, and father knows best.
Thank you, Robert. Jones will get the intentional walk, and that's what Hannigan and Arroyo were talking about. And so instead of facing the lefty who homered against him the first time, Arroyo, with the bases loaded and 2 out, will face the right-hander Chris Snyder, who he himself came up big with a double his first time.
Well, he hit a real mistake pitch, Snyder did, and I think that Arroyo would love to get another chance to pitch to him, and he's going to get a chance. Obviously, you know, you load the bases up, you put a force anywhere, all you need is to step on a bag with a ground ball to get out of the inning. and you have a guy who's a right-handed hitter instead of a Garrett Jones who launched one on you last time up.
So Snyder with the bases loaded. We talked about how ineffective this Pirates team has been offensively this year. This is only the 4th at bat this season, and this is their 13th game. 4th at bat this season they've had with the bases loaded. Well, that one didn't miss by much.
Well, the first hit, you see the 1 for 9. That was a double earlier that he hit tonight. Overall, this Pirate ball club coming into tonight's ball game, that is the starting 9, hitting only 155 off of Arroyo. They've already piled up 5 hits.
Snyder, the former Diamondbacks catcher, came over at the trade deadline last year. Bronson has him set up at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, now he's going to get a visit to the mound from Ryan Hannigan. Say, hey, Bronson, remember what happened last time? We got 0-2 on Snyder. I asked for an eye-high fastball. You threw it down the middle, hit a double. Don't do that again. Just listen to what I'm going to put down here. Go with me on this, and let's get out of this inning. Because the way that Charlie Morton is throwing the ball right now for the Pittsburgh Pirates, he really ought to make a best effort to try to get out of this inning, because Morton does not look like he's going to give up much tonight.
Morton has gone deep in his 2 games this year, 7 and 6 in terms of innings. Let's see what Arroyo gives Snyder here. They got it up.
That's what he wanted the first time. And Arroyo, just because he throws sidearm, doesn't always throw that ball down, or doesn't always throw that ball at a breaking ball. There's the double on that we see right here down the middle, and there's the last pitch. Snyder not biting.
So let's see now at 2-2.
This is the one you want to get him on.
Again, it was up and over the outside part of the plate. Snyder fouls it.
Of course, you know, one of the axioms in baseball is to get a decision on a 2-2 count. And it's never more true than when you've got bases loaded and 2 outs, because you go 3-2 now, and then the hitter has an advantage and the runners are going to be off and running. So this is the really good payoff pitch right here for Bronson Arroyo.
Up over the plate and a base hit. One will score. Coming up cleanly with that ball is Gomes, and so Snyder takes advantage of a play again at the plate of a pitch up and over the dish. It's 2-0.
Well, he hits a fastball. You see where, oh, that's a breaking ball, actually, where you see where Hannigan set up. I'll tell you, tonight, I'm not sure if it's the wind or whether it's just one of those nights for Bronson Arroyo, but he doesn't have a lot of snap in that breaking ball. And he's trying to get by with everything but. But that count called for a curveball. He just could not get enough spin on it to fool the hitter.
Nick Lavo over at third base, the third base coach, wanted to send Alvarez, but Gomes came up cleanly with it. So the bases are still loaded. Ronnie Cedeno, the 7th man to bat in the inning, is up there. He fouled out his first time. Bronson Arroyo has made 69 pitches already in this game. This upcoming delivery, number 30 of this inning. Gets it and ends the inning, but another run for the Pirates. They try to snap a 4-game losing streak. They're in front 2-0. That means another $25 from Shakely for the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Reds fans, make your Friday night better by going to foxsportsohio.com and entering to win the Papa's in Your House contest. You can win a Fox Sports Ohio prize pack. One grand prize winner will win a pizza party. The Papa's in Your House contest is presented by Papa John's. Here come the Reds in the third against the right-hander Charlie Morton. He's walked one, fanned one, giving the Reds one hit. Set them down in order in the second. It's Hannigan, the number 8 hitter, to get things started here in the bottom of the third. Two for 13 road trip for Hannigan. Cedeno. And 5 in a row now retired by Charlie Morton. New from 20th Century Fox, Rio, a movie that will bring the world to its feet in theaters today. Here's Bronson. Has a hit this year, 1 out of 4. Where's that double flap batting helmet? There aren't many players that do that these days. Sometimes a switch hitter. Delino DeShields is a coach in the Reds minor league system, used to wear the double hat, double ear flap.
Well, they do it now in the minor leagues. I believe all the players down there have. In fact, they have a special helmet that they have instituted, I think, last year and then again this year. Bigger helmet, more padding, trying to protect against any head injuries.
Bronson quickly disposed of the second strikeout for Charlie Morton. He made the point earlier, and it's bearing itself out. This is a different Charlie Morton than we've seen in the past.
Well, he's very aggressive out there, and it used to be Charlie Morton, you know, even his body language last year. I mean, he started the season out last year in his first 10 starts, 1 win, 9 losses, earned run average over 9. He was so bad, the Pirates made up an injury, and they put him on the disabled list, and they sent him back down to Florida for the extended spring. I mean, the extended spring is where you get all the kids that you just signed that are, you know, 18, 19 years old, and you're trying to teach them about what professional baseball is. And here they are sending down one of their major league starting pitchers just to try to get him to get his act together. He ended up a little bit better after that. Overall, his record went from 1-9 to 2-12. Earned run average came down, but the big step for him this year was when his pitching coach, Ray Searage, watched him play catch and said, hey, just drop your arm angle a little bit. You drop your arm slot, but still keep your fingers on top of the ball. And, man, that ball is running all over the place, and his confidence has soared.
Alvarez to his left will gun out Drew Stubbs, and another 1-2-3 inning by Charlie Morton. He's set down 7 in a row, and we're through 3. By the JTM Food Group, proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by John Deere. Visit your local Cincinnati John Deere dealer this deer season. Quick start to the fourth inning, and a line out by Charlie Morton gets the Pirate fourth underway.
Throwing hard and hitting hard right there, Alenia. Right at the guy playing third base.
Here's Andrew McCutcheon now twice. He has gone back to the dugout, bat in hand, after being called out on strikes.
And the interesting thing about those called strike threes for Bronson Arroyo, both of them have been on fastballs. And you know, in his career against Arroyo has just abused him with the breaking ball. But tonight he's going opposite. Trying to stay
games, huh?
Yeah, just trying to stay one step ahead of the hitter. You know, the hitter makes an adjustment, pitcher has to make another adjustment. Hitter makes another one, and there you go.
Wind has picked up here, Chris.
He kind of looks like the flying nun out there with that, doesn't he?
That was Chris Welsh saying that, by the way.
Remember that song? I can't remember.
I remember
the
TV show, Sally Field.
Well, didn't they have a hit song too?
Did it? I don't know that.
Of course, back in the day when I was watching that show, I could hit that high note.
We can work that out now if you'd like.
Oh, you know what? I've got it mixed up. The song I'm thinking of is by the Singing Nuns, not the Flying Nun.
Yeah, the Flying Nun was a TV show. Not that I watched it.
There's the curveball. That's the one he was waiting on the first two times up.
Now, McCutcheon has not looked good at the plate yet in this game, and there are two men out. Time now for our AT&T trivia question of the night. What Negro League team did Jackie Robinson play for before he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers? Interesting question.
You know, not only is the question interesting, but the position that he played for that team is even interesting.
So you know the answer and the rest of the story.
Well, I was asked the question before the game tonight, and I came up with the right answer. I happen to have read that, and I know. But I was filled in on the detail about what position he played. I didn't realize that.
Tabata's 1 out of 2 with a stolen base. Pirates have out hit the Reds 6-1 and lead 2-0. Bruce on the run. Bruce on the run. Not going to get it. Tabata hustles into second, where he has his second hit of the game. 7th hit for the Pirates. They have at least one hit now in every inning.
Tell you what, you've got to really be impressed with the approach that some of these Pirates hitters have had at the plate tonight. They are taking that ball, hitting it the other way. Tabata starts with an open stance. He really closes his feet up and rifles it right down the right field line.
Well, the Bears repeating, however, from earlier that has not been the case with this team over its first 12 games. Came in with a .223 average, came in having scored only 38 runs this year. Lowest in the National League, second lowest in Major League Baseball, behind Minnesota's 36.
Yeah, in fact, in their last 4 games in which they've lost every one of them, they've scored a total of 10 runs. So, you know, you may look at them and say, oh, well, they're going to be a bunch of pushovers. But the other way to look at that is that they started the season pretty well. They went 3-1 the first 4 games of the year, and that was against the Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. They took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals at St. Louis.
Going the other way, Overbay. That's going to get another Pirate run to the plate. Tabata will score. They're putting on a clinic here in this game in terms of pulling the ball, hitting it where it's pitched, slicing this one down the line.
You know, these are pretty good pitches. I mean, that ball is out of the strike zone right there that Bronson Arroyo throws. Tabata's pitch that he hit to right field was nearly out of the strike zone. That's just good plate coverage right there by big Lyle Overbay.
Overbay gets his 7th RBI of the year, and the Pirates now taking a 3-0 lead. 2 out, nobody on. Tabata doubled to right. Overbay singles to left. Here's a switch hitting Neil Walker. '84th pitch of the night from Arroyo. A strike to Walker. Get into a force play. Flied out. Nothing out of 2. This Pirate team has also had a big time problem this year early with strikeouts. Tonight Arroyo has 3, and all from one batter, McCutchen. They came into this game with the most strikeouts in the National League in terms of their hitters, with 105. Deep to right. Third of the year for Neil Walker, with 1 man aboard. Overbay. 2nd home run of the night given up by Bronson Arroyo, and a 2-0 deficit at the start of this inning is now turned in to 5-0 Pittsburgh on a 2-run homer by Neil Walker.
Now trying to come inside, and you see where that pitch is. Bronson Arroyo just not real tight with his control. You struggle with your command, and if you're a control type pitcher, those are tough nights on you, and Neil Walker makes him pay there.
Deep out into the Pirate bullpen area. Number 3 for Neil Walker, who now has 11 RBIs on the year. That is tops on this Pirates team. All this coming with 2 men out and nobody on. Alvarez, who's 1 out of 2, double his last time. Arroyo trying to make him the final out here in the top of the 4th. Matt Maloney is now up and throwing in the Reds bullpen.
Looks like Matt Maloney, a left-hander, throwing up down in the Reds bullpen. Not throwing up in the bullpen, hopefully, just throwing to get loose in the bullpen. You know, interesting matchup tonight. We talked about it before the game. Bronson Arroyo, fine pitcher, having a good year of it. Now a little timeout as a beach ball made its way into the field. But guitar player, entertainer, writes and sings, good entertainer. And his opposite tonight, Neil Walker, the same. He's also a singer, songwriter, taught himself to play the guitar about 5 or 6 years ago, and put on a mini concert for Pirates fans at their version of Reds Fest, their Pirates Fest in January.
Alvarez called out on strikes, so 2 strikeouts in the inning, but damage done by the visitors.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Edgar Renteria to get things started. Home 4th inning. All Pirates thus far in the first game of this series by a 5-0 count. Charlie Morton, 12-game loser a year ago with an ERA of 7.5. He's had 2 quality starts this year and has pitched very well in this game against Cincinnati. Lone hit allowed was a single to Stubbs to start the Reds first.
He's making it look easy, and he's making it look easy primarily with that fastball, being very aggressive with it.
Go to FoxSportsOhio.com for the Reds Notebook. Get an update on Johnny Cueto and Homer Bailey's rehab and when we may see them back pitching with the Redlegs. It's only on FoxSportsOhio.com. Presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. The storyline goes that Cueto will pitch tomorrow in Louisville and Homer Bailey on Sunday. Then 5 days later, they'll do it again for the Louisville club. And then after that, Homer will be evaluated as to whether he will make a 3rd start in the minor leagues or if he's ready to come up and pitch for the Reds. While the Reds were in Arizona, the 2 went out and made starts at the Goodyear Complex.
So it looks at this point like Homer Bailey is a little closer to coming back than is Johnny Cueto.
10 days to 2 weeks, possibly, yeah. The job that Sam LeCure did a couple of days ago on the road trip was just brilliant. He went 6, allowed 1 run, 1 hit with 8 strikeouts in that 8-11 inning Reds win Tuesday out there. And he was very impressive.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to have guys that can step in and give you major league caliber efforts. And the Reds are chock full of them. Well, that AAA team has a terrific roster. They're off to a great start. They lost their opening day game, and then they've run off 7 wins in a row, Rick Sweet has. And I think they're right now hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates AAA franchise, Indianapolis, down in Louisville.
They have Dontrell Willis going tonight, I believe, yeah.
How about that for a AAA threesome? Dontrell Willis, Homer Bailey, and then Johnny Cueto.
That's big league stuff right there.
Thank you very much.
Not to mention the rest of that team. Devin Mesoraco has gotten off to a very good start down there. Chris Valleca, Zach Cozart, Yonder Alonso playing some left field. Tap to first, dangerous play there between Overbay and the pitcher Morton. It looked like Overbay may have been able to take that himself. He flipped it and the ball kind of hung in the air there for a moment.
Ball comes right off the plate, very softly hit by Joey Votto, and he's thinking about a base hit, but this is one of those balls that we call is in no man's land. And the key is that whoever can get the ball, and in this case the first baseman, get the ball as soon as you can. And he just pitches it right off to the pitcher Charlie Morton, and it looks like an easy out.
Morton working on his 3rd consecutive 1-2-3. That ball hung up by the wind, late break, and it's going to drop for a base hit.
Man, that ball came off the bat, and it had people here at the stadium thinking it was going to send the center fielder Andrew McCutchen back to the wall. And then all of a sudden, a gust, a gale-like force wind. Look at McCutchen going back, and then he thinks he's got a can of corn coming. That ball ends up falling in. That is all windblown right there.
Now 9 in a row had been retired. McCutchen shrugs his shoulders on that. Nothing you can do about that. Reds get their 2nd hit. Well, rolling as a ball.
If I'm the center fielder now and the wind's blowing that hard, I'm coming in 3 or 4 more steps. Even with Johnny Gomes up there. Now he's playing shallower than he was earlier.
Well, we showed you the flags earlier, and they were blowing pretty well. But they are at gale force, it looks like right now. It's out toward left center field, right over the Reds bullpen. One of the things that Morton is doing, Chris, is going to help him is he's been keeping the ball on the ground.
Well, you know, all of his outs tonight have come by either a strikeout or a ground ball. That is something else that'll make a pitching coach just happy as can be.
And a night like tonight, very helpful.
Boy, no fly ball outs for Charlie Morton tonight. You know, when you play in this ballpark without the wind and the way that this ballpark gives up home runs, this is the type of pitcher that is an ideal pitcher for Great American Ballpark.
There are 2 games earlier this year. Gomes golfs that one down the left field line and into the corner, but foul.
Wind-blown hook.
2 games in that Houston series earlier this season where neither team homered. First and second game of that series. That's a rarity. In fact, it's only the second or third time that it ever had been done in back-to-back games, and it's never been done in 3 straight.
You know, Jim Kelcher watching us all over the world, as they always do on FS Ohio. Tonight we've got a special fan down in Tuxtla, Chiapas, Mexico.
Who may that be?
That would be my daughter, Carrie, watching on MLB.com. Carrie, welcome to the broadcast. Be good. Take care.
Barehanded pick, and Cedeno makes the play, and another ground ball out. His 10th of the game, retired by Charlie Morton. Through 4, 5-0 Bucks. Today's game, here's a good look at it. April Lee of Florence, Kentucky, who currently owns a 2003 Corolla, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. The pitcher on for the Redlegs, it's Matt Maloney.
Now, Matt Maloney trying to get himself straightened out a little bit. Look at the earned run average, but you know, when you only throw a few innings up there, that really doesn't mean very much at all. Matt Maloney made the ball club coming out of spring training, had a good spring down there. He's been primarily a starter in his career as a minor leaguer and a major leaguer, but there was only really spots open in the bullpen for him.
Well, he pitched in that first game out in Arizona. That was the 13-2 shellacking the Reds took at the hands of the D-backs, and in that game he gave up 7 runs in 1 2/3 and did not appear again on the road trip. He has a chance here to redeem himself a little bit from that outing and keep things where it is, which is 5-0 Pirates into inning number 5. Garrett Jones, who's had a big hit in this game, a home run, leads things off. Well, after a 7-inning, 3-run outing his first time, and a 6-inning, 1 unearned run outing his second go-round, Bronson Arroyo doesn't fare as well tonight, giving up 5 runs, 9 hits in 4 innings. And I thought you made a good point earlier that I don't know whether it was the wind or something. His balls just weren't breaking the way he wanted them to.
Now, you know, some nights you have nights like that where you just don't have the feel of it coming out. I would not be surprised, though, if we hear the post-game comments from Bronson Arroyo saying that the wind had something to do with that breaking ball not being able to break. Because if we saw that ball hit by Johnny Gomes, wasn't it that hit the fly ball that McCutcheon broke back on and it fell out for a base hit? Rolling. Well, that means the wind is blowing at your back. And when the wind's blowing that hard at your back, your curveball's simply not going to break. And, of course, you take Bronson Arroyo's curveball out of his pitching repertoire, and he's not going to have an easy time of it. He needs that curveball.
Well, he's on the hook now. Matt Maloney will try to keep it a 5-0 game and hope that the Reds offense can get back into this thing against the tough right-hander Charlie Morton, who has been lights out so far tonight.
You know what's interesting is I observed Maloney pitching. He's a guy that has learned throughout his career being a starting pitcher and being right-handed hitting lineups loaded up against him because he's a lefty. He has more difficulty getting left-handers out than right-handers because his changeup is very good, but his slider is not. And there's another example of it where he struggles getting left-handers out, which may stymie him in his career as a bullpen guy, because a manager is always looking for that one situational left-hander to come in and get a left-hander out early in the ball game, and you still have Bill Bray out there, and you still have Aroldis Chapman. And I think that's the next step for Matt Maloney, and it's not unusual to see that happen.
Well, it did appear as if Maloney was going to be a starter at Louisville this year prior to the injuries to both Cueto and Bailey right at the end of spring, didn't it?
Yes, it did. The last moment he pitched well enough, he earned a spot on the ball club, and you know, now is his chance to take advantage of it.
Chris Snyder has a pair of hits in this game. Matt Maloney came up through the Phillies organization, had a very good minor league career with them. Maloney has Snyder, 1-2 strikes. The overall numbers for Maloney this year. This is his third game. Very high ERAs. Worked 2 2/3 innings total. Working against the catcher Chris Snyder. Got him on an off-speed pitch. Hey, Reds fans, make sure you're at the game this Sunday when the Reds take on these Pittsburgh Pirates. The first 30,000 fans in attendance will receive a Reds team baseball card set courtesy of Thompson Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Only gets his first out, works now on Cedeno.
That was what we were talking about with Matt Maloney. His best off-speed pitch is that one. That's the changeup. It goes down and away from right-handers, and he's very deceptive with it. It almost acts like a screwball. But that pitch is not as effective against lefties. So when you come up into minor leagues as a left-handed pitcher,
Cedeno shoots one down into the right field corner. Bruce along the wall to get it. Jones is held at third. That's another 2-base hit. The fourth double and 6th extra base hit of this game by Pittsburgh.
That's just real good hitting right there by the Pirates and Ronnie Cedeno, taking that pitch going the other way. He senses that Brian Hannigan is sitting outside, and that pitch catches a lot of the plate, but he's thinking inside out anyway. And he laces it right inside the line, and that'll put him on the corners. But the point again about Maloney is that you come up as a left-handed pitcher in the minor leagues, and opposing managers load up the lineup with a bunch of righties against you. So you develop your changeup and your fastball. And then you get to the big leagues, and you've got to get real good left-handed hitters out. Guys that play every day regardless of who is starting against them as a pitcher. and you realize that your breaking stuff that you have might not yet be good enough or sharp enough to get him out consistently. So that's kind of where Matt Maloney is right now.
Working here against Charlie Morton. Had to sacrifice his first time. And he lined one right at Roland at third his last trip. Well, the wind is really blowing here at the ballpark. Blowing in up here, blowing out toward left center.
But when you see white caps on the Ohio River, it's a blowing.
You can see a white cap out there now. You got better eyes than I do.
Small craft advisory.
I think I see the Edmund Fitzgerald going by.
Some of the Pittsburgh Pirates folks that are here along with the ball club are telling us that, of course, that stadium that sits right on an island there between three rivers in Pittsburgh, that water is right up to the sidewalk. And usually it's a good 10 to 15 feet, it seems like, between the sidewalk level and the river level.
They're happy to be out of town then.
Yeah.
They were there last night. Morton, the second strikeout victim of the inning for Maloney. 6 strikeouts for Reds pitching in this game. Try to hang a 0 here. Maloney must deal with Andrew McCutchen.
Well, McCutchen's one guy who's certainly very happy to see Bronson Arroyo out of the ball game. Right now he struck out 3 times, twice looking on fastballs, well-placed fastballs by Arroyo, and the last time on a curveball. And he had McCutchen all messed up.
McCutchen very highly touted coming up through the Pirate organization. First round pick in 05. Pittsburgh's minor league player of the year in 2006. He was a AAA All-Star in 08. In fact, was the AAA All-Star game MVP that year. Played in the Futures game that summer. Was on the All-Rookie team in 2009. Trying to avoid his first ever 4 strikeout game.
He's got the sombrero now. Trying to avoid the golden sombrero. Either the rain is coming down hard or they're giving out bags of $20 bills in the parking lot. Because they are heading on out of here.
There's a shot of what the wind is doing in the stand, blowing those umbrellas inside out. Down in Dusty Baker's office prior to the game, they were talking about, Marty Brennaman likes to call it, the infamous window of opportunity to play this game. They said 6:30 to around 10:30. It's closing in on 8:45 now. Wind has brought things here a little bit quicker than they thought. This is not an official game. There, look at that wind is blowing horizontally out there.
As opposed to up and down?
That's the general way. Now, you've been away for 10 days. You're full of vim and vigor tonight, aren't you?
I hate when that wind blows straight down, I can tell you.
The rain. McCutchen fans for the 4th time tonight. Pirates fail to score, but lead 5-0 here in the 5th. Coming up on April the 29th through May the 1st. Don't miss this exciting series presented by McDonald's. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com today. Jay Bruce to get things started, bottom of the 5th inning. I think we're in Kansas up here in this booth tonight. Wind is blowing like wild. Left field and going back. Now coming in is Tabata. You can barely hold things down. You got to make sure that nothing blows away. That's Chris's paperwork.
It's all right. It's where it belongs, on the floor.
Rob Butcher would not like to hear that.
You look good all dressed up. Coat and tie. Get you out from behind that radio wardrobe that you wear around there from time to time.
A little different.
Yeah.
A little different, that's for sure.
You have to wear socks over here.
Is that a new trend?
That's what keeps Brenneman out of the booth. Marty, I mean.
Yeah. Oh boy, it is really blowing.
This is some kind of a storm coming in here now, obviously. But remember now, here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning, 1 out. The Reds are unable to get this game tied up, and the rains come. The game will be in the hands of the umpire.
Bobbled in first by Overbay, but getting over there quickly is the pitcher, Charlie Morton, for a 3-1 putout for Ryan Hannigan. Let's revisit our AT&T trivia question. What Negro League team did Jackie Robinson play for before he signed with the Dodgers? The answer, the Kansas City Monarchs. 1945 as
a shortstop.
Most famous for being the second base combination with Pee Wee Reese with the Dodgers. Played shortstop coming up. Played first base his rookie year when he won Rookie of the Year. Later was an MVP. He's a 6-time All-Star. All with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Somewhat of a little known fact, at the end of his career he was traded to the New York Giants, but he turned down the trade, said he wouldn't go. Trade was nullified and his career basically was over at that point. Everybody, as you can see, Hannigan wearing number 42 around Major League Baseball today, and if you're not at home like the Pirates are here, they will honor Jackie at a later date at home in Pittsburgh. 64 years ago today he made his big league debut with Brooklyn.
Now I wonder what happens to these uniforms after today's game. I mean, do they get auctioned off and go to charity? I think in the past that's what's happened to them. I'm wondering now if they will again this year do it.
Out of play by Hannigan.
Now, wasn't it Ken Griffey Jr. that had something to do with
Here's that infamous play we were talking about earlier. One of the most famous clips you see of Jackie Robinson stealing home plate during the World Series. That looked like Yogi Berra. That was on the catching end and arguing.
Definitely safe.
Cedeno has that one go right between the wickets and out into left field. So Hannigan on via an error. And you're right, Chris. It was a junior, Ken Griffey Jr., who had a lot to do with the wearing of the number 42 years ago.
Now, didn't he petition or ask the commissioner, Bud Selig, that he could wear number 42 and get a special exemption for that particular game to honor on April the 15th? Jackie Robinson, and the commissioner said yes, and then eventually that has grown into all of Major League Baseball doing that.
Yeah, it was his idea to the commissioner, who liked the idea so much they ended up allowing everyone to wear 42. How tough is it as Maloney's batting here? How tough is it on Charlie Morton to pitch in these kind of conditions, trying to get through 5?
Evidently not very tough. He's only given up 2 hits. And he's done it with power sinking fastball. I mean, if you watch him and the action on the fastball, you say, man, that's something else. But to consider that he's throwing it at 93, that is a heavy fastball with some hair on it. Man, oh man.
He gets Maloney to win the inning. Reds still scoreless through 5. Florida Marlins will be one of the first 10,000 fans, 14 and younger, to receive a Reds mascot wall stickers, courtesy of Tire Discounters. Get tickets to see the Reds and the Marlins by calling 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com today. Field is being littered with paper as the Reds are out there to start the 6th inning. And while we have an opportunity, we want to pass along some happy birthday wishes from Fox Sports Ohio. Wish happy 100 tonight. The lifelong Reds fan Joseph DeWeese from Nashville, Indiana. Nashville, Indiana. Joseph celebrating birthday number 100. And to Anna Mae Freeman from outside the Dayton area. She turned 84. 3 days ago on the 12th, her daughter-in-law thought the game out west may be on a bit later for Anna Mae, so we're wishing her a happy birthday today. She didn't hear the birthday wish back on the 12th. That's when the Reds were in San Diego. They had that late start out there against the Padres. They did win for her that day. Tabata leading things off against Matt Maloney. And a high fly ball. Look at the wind blowing that thing out of play into the stands. That looked like it was headed for the right field corner. Ended up going into the seats right behind the tarpaulin roll. You still with me over there?
I'm with you. I'm picking up all your supplies. Your pencils are rolling all over the place. It's tough up here. You know, we've got the window open here in the TV booth. In the radio booth, your radio partner over there, they got it all closed up and they're nice and tidy.
I guarantee you they have it nice and tidy over there.
Oh, you know that for certain.
Yeah, they're locked down over there now.
I'll tell you what, I think it's raining or blowing so hard here tonight that it might even move Marty Brenneman's hair.
It would if the window was open, but as you can see, he and the Cowboy tucked in over there nicely. Another base hit for Tabata, his third. Boy, this weather doesn't appear to be affecting the Pirates in the way they're swinging the bats at all. 3 for 4 for Jose Tabata. Now have a dozen hits. When the wind is blowing those flags out in left center, it may take them right off the pole tonight. Double play ball. There's one. There's two. Double play. One of the few things that has gone right for the home team tonight. A 4-6-3 twin killing.
Now this is the easiest of all double plays to go. You flip it from second base over to the shortstop covering, and an easy throw right there completes it.
The fewest number of batters that the Pirates have sent up there in an inning tonight is 5. Neil Walker bats. He's 1 out of 3. A 2-run homer in the 4th. Capped that 3-run inning. Made it a 5-0 game. Walker turns around and bats now from the right side. Average a little bit higher from the left side. Gets many more at bats from that side of the plate. Stubbs in and now back and has it. That's a 3-batter inning for Matt Maloney in the top of the 6th. Here come the Reds again, trailing 5-0. Time now for the Coors Light Freeze Can.
Ronnie Cedeno, the bare hand right there on a rolling ball. Makes the play. I love that Coors Light Freeze Can.
From the shortstop spot, Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Sad but true numbers of this game. 5-0 Pirates. They about hit the Reds 12-2. Matt Maloney has been dealing here. Charlie Morton has been dealing here tonight, and we'll get Drew Stubbs, one of the 2 Reds hits, get it going. We were talking earlier, Chris, about Dontrell Willis. An update from his outing tonight. 6 innings, no runs, 5 hits with 6 strikeouts. He now has 12 shutout innings in 2 starts thus far.
I'll tell you what, that's outstanding effort by Dontrell Willis. I'm not saying that he's going to force the door open yet, especially given the fact that you've got a couple of your projected starters still on the disabled list, ready to come off in a couple of weeks at the very most, with Cueto and Bailey. And you have Dontrell Willis. And Willis is not on the 40-man roster, which will make the Reds really force another move and maybe lose a player if you bring him up. But man, oh man, you couldn't ask for anything more out of Dontrell Willis than what he has done so far for Rick Sweet down in Louisville.
And again, 6 innings tonight, 12 innings total with no runs allowed. That's certainly better than anything he has put up in the last couple of years, certainly since he came over from Florida.
Well, he's a different looking pitcher now. I mean, his delivery is much better. It's much more compact. And I think the more he pitches with that new delivery, the better he will be, the more comfortable he'll be, and more repeatable.
Drew Stubbs 2 out of 3 in this game. Here's Edgar Renteria. McCutchen again. Look at that late break by McCutchen. He gets there, and did he make the catch? He did, according to the first base umpire, Jim Wolf.
That's a great catch by McCutchen. Andrew McCutchen thought this ball was going to, be a medium fly ball to right center field. But again, he's fooled by it, and only his great speed right there enables him to catch up with that ball and make a diving catch. Memo to the infielders, if you're watching from either dugout, those balls that go up look like medium fly balls. You ought to head out there, because it might be an easier play for a second baseman on that than it would be a center fielder.
That's a great transition to talk about news that came out this week, Chris, about the potential of more replay in 2012 in baseball. And that play right there was one of the things they're talking about. The other is balls down the lines that are fair or foul. And trapped balls, just like that. Not that that was trapped, but the potential of being a trapped ball.
Well, if you're a proponent at all of replay, that would be the next logical step, because those kind of calls can be made and make sure you get them absolutely right. And sometimes umpires just aren't in a position to see it. If the guy's running in the gap and his back's kind of away from the plate, and an umpire has got to look 150 feet out to see whether that baseball's trapped or caught on a fly. Sometimes it's a very difficult thing to see live when it's happening very quickly.
Are you a proponent?
I'm not. I'm a proponent of letting the umpires make the calls. It's a game played by human beings. Let's let it continue to be played and umpired by human beings. Umpires get the vast majority of their calls right. Even the close calls, they're good. And they're the best in the business, and they get it right most of the time.
Is that your feeling for all sports then?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm tired of seeing that red hanky fly on the field in football.
Votto works a walk out of Morton, the second he has given up. This is really the first chink in the armor we've seen from the Pirate right-hander tonight.
Well, he's only had 77 pitches, so it's not like he's wearing out at all. But you just wonder if mentally he's beginning to get worn down a little bit. You're pitching in this wind; it can just be tough on you a little bit. But he has just dominated the Reds. A real strike thrower tonight.
He beat the Cardinals his first time out. He's looking to beat the Reds, and this is third start of the year. Pirates own a 5-0 lead. Roland could put a big dent into that here. Hit a couple of homers this year, driven in 10. Had a base hit his last time on that wind-aided ball into center, in which McCutchen broke back. And then the time he sprinted in, he just couldn't get to the ball. Roland legs it out on that potential double play ball. Didn't get hit hard enough for Cedeno and Walker to turn it quickly enough out at second base.
They tried, but Scott Rowland chugging down the line best he can. A pretty good turn down there by the second baseman Walker. And you see Rowland just beats the throw.
Well, Johnny Gomes comes up there. He has not walked tonight, and that's been one of the big storylines of the year. Gomes has walked in 10 of the 11 Reds games he's played in.
He's an underappreciated player. I think people look at Johnny Gomes and they see the mohawk and they see the guy whirling his bat around and tugging at the brim of his cap, and they think this guy is an all-or-nothing hitter, where all he does is go up there and just try to see a ball and swing. There's a lot more to Johnny Gomes than that. I mean, the guy works at his craft. He works at hitting the ball the other way. He's working pitchers, and I think he's determined to be an everyday outfielder in the major leagues for a long time. And he's getting a shot this year. And he took advantage of it last year, and he realizes how fleeting that opportunity can be, especially when you've got some really good young players in the system, like Chris Heisey, like Dave Sapelt, like Danny Dorn. I mean, these guys are all major league ready, if not very close to being so, and that's one reason why he always feels there's pressure on him. He's got to play hard.
Toward right field and played by Garrett Jones, and that ends the Reds' 6th inning. So they still have been unable to break through against Charlie Morton. the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2010 Best Children's Hospitals, and by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. Matt Maloney to work against Pedro Alvarez to begin inning number 7. Maloney had a 3-batter thanks to a double play 6th inning, working in his 3rd frame here. Allowed no runs, 3 hits thus far. Bronson Arroyo, the Red starter, touched up for 5 runs, 9 hits in 4 innings. Chance for Stubbs. He reads it well and makes the catch, and Alvarez is 1 for 4. Head to Great American Ballpark on Monday, that's April the 18th, for a special senior ticket offer presented by Tri-State Centers for Sight. Reds fans 60 and older may purchase non-premium tickets at half price in advance of game day only. First pitch is at 7:10 as the Reds take on these Pittsburgh Pirates. Get your tickets now by calling 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Garrett Jones been on 3 times, and he taps one back to the hill. And Maloney will dispose of him. Take a look at our Honda standings so far as we enter the 2nd week of the season. Along with the Reds, you see the Phillies, the Giants, the Texas Rangers have all improved over the course, Chris, of the last 4 years.
Well, they certainly have. You see the improvement of the Reds have from 72 wins in 2007 to 91. If you were going to draw a graph of that, that'd be perfect, just to show you that baby going straight up, just like your portfolio.
Now, when you look at that list, those teams, along with the Reds, have all appeared in the World Series. In the case of the Rangers and the Giants last year, the Phillies 2 years in a row prior to that. It would hopefully bode well for this Cincinnati club.
Well, it would be bode well tonight if they could figure out a way to come from behind and beat this Pirates team, because right now they have a 1-game lead, the Reds do, over the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers are losing by 1 run right now to the Washington Nationals. Now, if that holds out, everything will stay the same in this division, but the Brewers could tie the Reds for first place here with a win against Washington tonight and a Reds loss here at Great American.
They have had, haven't they, a pretty good turnaround since starting the season here with 3 losses and then losing that 4th game at Chicago.
And they have just sent Zach Greinke, their projected ace of the staff, out on a rehab start. I believe he's either starting tonight or tomorrow, so he can't be too far away from joining that big league team.
They're hoping to get Corey Hart back fairly soon. They've gotten Jonathan Lucroy, their catcher, back. So they're getting healthier than they were certainly when they were here the opening series.
Well, they dominated this Pittsburgh Pirate team on a trip through Pittsburgh. Took 3 in a row from them, I believe.
Matt Maloney has had a nice bounce back effort tonight.
You know, you don't go on the efforts of a pitcher, 1 or 2 games, especially in a game, and he goes out there and gives up 7 runs or so in an inning. I mean, that's going to happen to everybody. You don't really start looking at your earned run averages until you get about 100 innings under your belt.
There's the first 1-2-3 inning turned in by the Reds pitchers tonight. Stretch time at Great American Ballpark. 5-0 Pittsburgh. the Home Depot doing more on defense. Play of the game. Andrew McCutcheon, who twice has been fooled on balls like that, didn't get the first one off the bat of Roland, but did catch that ball hit by Edgar Renteria in the 6th inning. Now we play into the bottom of the 7th. Charlie Morton still out there. He's had a 7-inning outing this year, looking to do it for the 2nd time in 2011. Won 2 games all of last year, trying to win his 2nd of the season here tonight. That's the 2nd time now that Bruce has flied out to left, and he's 0 for 3 in this game. Now 1 for his last 13.
I think he's only seen about 5 pitches tonight. Hit a 1-1 pitch for a ground ball his first time up, and I think he's picked on a first pitch last couple of times up. Trying to hit his way out of that little mini slump he's in.
He's 0 for 3. Gomes is 0 for 3. Votto has walked twice. Renteria without a hit. Stubbs has a pair of hits tonight. Cairo filling in for Brandon Phillips is grounded out twice.
Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, listen up. Let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTM.
Headed up the middle and a base hit for Miguel Cairo.
Well, they need base runners, the Reds do. They haven't had many all night long, and they'll get one right here. It looks like Miguel Cairo jammed himself a little bit with that fastball that ran right in on his thumbs. But still enough of it to get it through the infield, right underneath the glove of Ronnie Cedeno. Reds reach a runner with 1 out.
It's their 4th hit. All have been singles. Ryan Hannigan, who reached on an error by the shortstop Cedeno. That was back in the 5th inning when the rain was coming down horizontally. So it's 0 for 2 tonight. Barring a double play, it appears as if Maloney will hit for himself here in this inning. Logan Andrusik is now up and starting to loosen in the Reds bullpen. The Pirate pen has been quiet. This next pitch will be the 90th of the night for Charlie Morton.
Hey, while we got a second, Jim, want to congratulate Gary Kidwell, sports editor for the Lewis County Herald, who frequently covers the Reds, and he's been a longtime Reds fan, being inducted into the Kentucky High School Hall of Fame in Lexington tomorrow night down in Lexington at the Lexington Center. Gary, congratulations.
To right field, and Jones is there, and he has it for the 2nd out. Yeah, we'll pass along those congratulations to Gary.
He's from out there in Lewis County. You know where Lewis County is?
I do not.
It's kind of in northeast Kentucky. Vanceburg, I think, is the county seat.
You been down there?
Oh, yeah. Been through there.
Matt Maloney bats for the 2nd time in this game. He tapped one back to the mound his first trip. Reds have been on the short end of this game since the 2nd. Garrett Jones yanked one into the bullpen area and right. Line drive hit well by Maloney, but caught by Cedeno. Ends the Reds' 7th. They get a hit and leave their 5th runner trail 5-0 through 7. Now for the Coors cold, hard blast of the night. How about Neil Walker? He connected there in the 4th inning with Overbay aboard. That wrapped up that 3-run 4th. Made it 5-0 in favor of the Pirates. Their 2nd home run of the evening. 2nd of the year for Neil Walker. Our Coors cold blast of the night. Matt Maloney back to the mound here in the 8th inning. He took over in the 5th. A lot of pair of hits in that inning, but no runs. Gave up a hit to Tabata to start the 6th, but then Overbay hit into a double play. And a 1-2-3 7th, so he'll work here in the 8th. To Ronnie Cedeno, who's 1 out of 3.
Yeah, nice confidence builder for Matt Maloney out there, and you need that. I mean, the worst thing you wanted to do is to see Matt Maloney get blown up a little bit in Phoenix and then not pitch the rest of the series in San Diego, and he's just chomping at the bit to get right back out there. Doing a nice job tonight.
Bruce retires Cedeno. That's 6 in a row retired now by Matt Maloney. Charlie Morton will go up there and bat for himself here in the top of the 8th. So he will go back out there in the bottom half looking for his longest outing of the season.
Well, I found out from our man on the street, Jim Day, that there will be from every team one Jackie Robinson uniform, one of these number 42 uniforms that the teams are wearing tonight, that'll be autographed by every member of each team. And those uniforms will be auctioned off on MLB.com, and the money goes to charity. So keep an eye on it. Log on to MLB.com and find out when and where that auction will be and pick one up.
Well, when you need answers to tough questions, you know who to turn to.
That would be Jim Day.
You bet.
Good looking pitch right here. That's another changeup. And down in the zone, he's got such great arm action on this, does Matt Maloney. Kind of long arms and legs. He's got that delivery where he lifts his right leg way up high, and all of a sudden that arm comes through, and hitters swing at the arm action, and they don't necessarily pick up the ball.
Well, here's Andrew McCutchen, probably one of the only, if not the only, Pirates hitter who's had a tough go of it tonight. Look down their lineup. In fact, he's the only regular that does not have a hit. He has fanned 4 times for the first time in his career. Renteria bobbled the ball. McCutchen was chugging down that line, but had Edgar not bobbled that ball, they probably We're going to hang an 0 for 5 on McCutchen.
Matt Maloney pitching out of the stretch position, even with nobody on base. But see the high leg kick, arms coming at you, and here comes that changeup again. Back-to-back changeups. That one very softly hit, but goes for an infield hit. You knew McCutchen had to be swinging. I mean, he struck out 4 times. I'm not even sure how long that list is of players that have struck out 5 times in a game. But you know he was hacking. He was just trying to make contact.
He did not want to get very deep in the count at all, did he?
No. I was surprised he took the first pitch.
That is scored, by the way, an error on Renteria. Each team has committed an error in tonight's game. In fact, the Reds committed 2 in the game on Wednesday. Commit 1 here. Still one of the top defending teams in the National League this year, and along with the Padres, top 2 defensive teams in the National League 1 year ago. Jose Tabata is 3 out of 4. He's the youngest player on this Pirates roster, only 22 years old. In his first opening day roster this year. And off to a great start. He's now reached base in all 13 Pirates games. Looks like Joey Votto on the Red side. And he gets another hit, his 4th hit of this game. 4 for 5 for Jose Tabata.
He really scalds this ball. I mean, he centers it. The ball pretty much on the inner part of the plate. It looked more of the center part of the plate. Our Fox Mo slow-mo camera will show that ball right off the sweet spot.
Former Honda Foxmo right there.
Now this lineup by Clint Hurdle tonight, I mean, those that follow the Pirates will tell you this is a completely different lineup. Not necessarily the faces in it, but where they're batting in the lineup. I mean, he's been trying to do everything they can just to get a couple of runs.
Gomes battled the lights up there, went down and caught that ball. Good effort by the Reds left fielder to end the top of the 8th inning. 2 stranded, 9 left for the Pirates in this game. Inning, Matt Maloney getting the good word from Red skipper Dusty Baker. He went 4, allowed no runs, 4 hits, and he really held the Pirates at bay, as it were.
Well, you know, Matt Maloney's the guy who is the really legitimate long man that the Reds have on this ball club right now. And he's no dummy. I mean, he can do the math. He sees that, you know, Johnny Cueto and Homer Bailey are on their way back. He sees that Dontrell Willis is throwing the ball well. And, I mean, he just needs to step his game up a little bit, and he did exactly that tonight. 4 innings of shutout baseball. Way to go.
Stubbs against Charlie Morton, who's into his 8th inning of work, and he strikes out there for the first out in the frame. Well, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio gives you the best highlights and exclusive interviews with the players and coaches you'll only see right here on Reds Live. When the game is over, Fox Sports Ohio is only getting started. That's Reds Live postgame, brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com. This is now the second longest outing of Morton's career. He has one Major League complete game. That was September the 30th of 2009 against the Cubs. And he's at 7 2/3 right now as he gets Renteria to ground out second to first.
Boy, just throwing strike after strike, moving fastball, an occasional breaking ball.
A game that he had the complete game effort against the Cubs. He needed 119 pitches. He's sitting now at 97 in this one.
Well, this is a little bit more like the Charlie Morton that the Pirates wanted to get, or thought that they were getting from the Atlanta Braves when they traded for Nate McLouth. At that time, McLouth, an all-star center fielder. And Morton was the kingpin in that trade, coming the other way.
Hey, Reds fans, right here, right now, this weekend, book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. We started this game with overcast skies. In the middle of the way, we had some terrific wind and rain. Rain has gone away for now. Wind is still gusting, but not like it was earlier. There's Joey Votto in a bid for a hit, but taken away by Ronnie Cedeno. That is one terrific effort right there to rob Joey Votto of a base hit. Unbelievable. We head to the 9th. 5-0 Bucks. Fitting. Time for a Morel hot dog play of the game.
Well, he just goes out and shallow center field, just makes a swipe at it. Ronnie Cedeno has already had an error tonight, but boy, he makes up for that with a superb effort.
Doesn't get much better than that, that's for sure. Man. Play of the game indeed, right there by Ronnie Cedeno, the Pirate shortstop. He doesn't want to talk fielding, though. He wants to talk hitting. Meanwhile, new man on the mound for the Reds. Third pitcher of the night is Logan Ondrusek.
Tallest pitcher on the Red staff coming out here. 6 feet 8 inches tall is Logan Ondrusic's 7th game. Nailed down a couple of wins already so far and has yet to give up an earned run.
He works here to the middle of the order. Neil Walker, Pedro Alvarez, and Garrett Jones. Walker, one of the 2 home runs in this game by Pittsburgh. His blow, the last scoring of this contest thus far. Logan Ondrusic, he picked up the victory on Tuesday out in San Diego in that 11-inning 8-2 Reds victory. 2-0 this year, 7-0 in his major league career. He's the only right-hander, this is a great stat, the only right-hander in franchise history to win his first 7 career decisions. The first Reds pitcher to start a career at 7-0 since lefty Rob Murphy went 8-0 back in 1986/87.
Murph. Now there's a character for you.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Ondrusik walks the first man he faces. That's how the 9th inning gets started.
Well, the contract today that the Boston Red Sox signed with their first baseman, Adrian Gonzalez. Of course, they got Gonzalez in a trade over the winter, but they signed him to an extension. A 7-year, $154 million contract.
I heard a talk show in which that subject was the main course of discussion, and then they brought in the fact that that's just another team X'd off the list of potential teams for Albert Pujols to go to.
Well, that's true. That's one way of looking at it right there. I mean, if Albert Pujols is looking for a big market team, obviously the Boston Red Sox spent a lot of money.
Yankees are off the list. Red Sox off the list. Angels off the list. Braves have a young first baseman that they're playing down there.
I don't see Albert Pujols going anywhere.
Nor do I.
But it's interesting the way the Red Sox did that. You know, they acquired him over the winter when he was injured, and they didn't sign him to an extension then. They used a loophole in the basic agreement where they waited until April 15th to sign him to this contract, so that his contract, with all the other players coming off their books next year, like Papelbon and Veritek, and guys who are making big money now, Big Poppy, these guys coming off, they won't have to pay a luxury tax next year on this money that they signed. But if they had signed Adrian Gonzalez to this big contract during the winter or previous to April the 15th, that money would have gone onto their payroll this year, and it would have increased the luxury tax money that they would have had to pay back into Major League Baseball. So they exploited a little loophole in the rule book, and you know, it's kind of a sham, I guess, when you exploit that, but it's a loophole that's right there, so you might as well do it.
Well, the business end of things kicks in right there.
And it's only appropriate that they would do it here on April 15th, normally the day when all the taxes are due. So
true.
Those of you who are exploiting loopholes, just join right hand in hand with the Boston Red Sox.
New from 20th Century Fox, Rio, a movie that will bring the world to its feet, in theaters today. Get a chance to go out and watch that tomorrow, Chris. Day game here, movie tomorrow night. Not asking you to go to the movies with me.
That was my next question.
That you can go to the movies. You know better than that.
At least buy me some popcorn.
Garrett Jones made way at first base for Lyle Overbay this year in Pittsburgh. He moved out to right field. Overbay has been a big addition, one of the many that we talked about with this ball club.
Well, over the last few years, it would seem to be that Garrett Jones would sometimes play first base, sometimes play right field, but by having now Lyle Overbay coming in to play first base, it gives Clint Hurdle the opportunity to put the same guy in there and a good veteran bat in the lineup every day in Overbay. And what it does, though, is it costs Ryan Doman some playing time. He's been over at first base. He's going to catch a little bit. Tonight they've got Chris Snyder behind the plate. Doman may be a little bit better offensive player, and Snyder a little bit better defensive player.
Snyder strokes one up the middle, going to add to the Pirate lead as that ball tips off the glove of Joey Votto, but backed up nicely by Hannigan. So a base hit by Snyder gives him a 3-hit, 2 RBI night. The Pirates extend their lead now to 6-0.
Lead-off walk right there by Logan Ondrusek. That's the first thing that Brian Price is going to probably not even have to tell him when he comes down the dugout steps. I mean, you know it's coming when you look at your pitching coach after you have a leadoff walk that comes around to score. That's that old 80% rule. May not be exactly accurate, but it seems like that every time you walk a guy to lead the inning off, 80% of the time he comes around to score.
Well, in the case of Ondrusek, not only did he walk the leadoff man, he also has thrown another walk in this inning.
First run that Logan has given up this season.
Reds would love a double play ball here. They've turned one tonight. Pittsburgh scored 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 3 in the fourth, highlighted by the 2-run homer by Neil Walker. And I've added so far 1 more here in the ninth. Windy, somewhat cool night here on this Friday night. 21,312 here at GABP.
Looks like Logan Ondrusek maybe having a little trouble getting good grip on the ball. You see him go into his mouth after every pitch, maybe trying just to get a little moisture on his hands. That's one of the rule changes that has been implemented in Major League Baseball. You can lick your fingers on the dirt area, but you have to wipe it off.
That ball didn't quite have enough steam on it for Rolen to get it, step and throw to get the double play. Close.
Well, it was hitting the right spot, right a couple of steps away from third base, and Rolen immediately throws it. Ronnie Cedeno runs well. And even a good stretch by Joey Votto at the other end can't get the out.
So here's Charlie Morton, who will bat again. This is his 5th plate appearance of the game, meaning he will be gunning for his 2nd complete game shutout in his career. And he swings at the first pitch, and Stubbs will handle it. So Morton will go back to the mound in search of the complete game effort here tonight. 6-0 Pirates. Reds coming up in the last of the ninth. @Bat11 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. And this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, David Wright leads the Mets into Atlanta to take on their NL East rivals, the Atlanta Braves, or the Twins battle the Rays. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 4 p.m. Eastern in HD high definition. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Reds will be going at it here tomorrow, an afternoon game against his Pirates crew. Edinson Volquez making his 4th start. Will go against James McDonald, a fellow the Pirates acquired at the trade deadline last year from the Dodgers. Charlie Morton goes for the complete game effort. Rolling tonight, 1 out of 3. Wind aided hit back in the 4th. Cedeno. 1 out.
Man, oh man, Morton is just mowing him down. He's just a strike-throwing machine tonight. Not afraid to throw the fastball. I mean, he's throwing the low 90s. He's got great movement. That little adjustment that Ray Searage, the Pirates pitching coach, made this year. Because remember, in the last few years, Joe Kerrigan was the pitching coach of the Pirates. And he had Morton throwing, a little bit more overhand. And maybe that was the philosophy that they just wanted to continue that Morton had in Atlanta. But a little bit of a change, just a little adjustment that's made such a big difference. I mean, if you look at his delivery, he reminds me a little bit of Roy Halladay. Now, I'm not putting him in Roy Halladay's class, but he's a big guy like Halladay. He has the same type of leg lift and turn, and his ball is moving all over the place just like Roy Halladay does. And this young man is... I'll tell you what, he's got me inspired, Jim Kelch. I'm going home tomorrow. And I'm going to lower the arm angle of my son, Mac. I'm going to say, Mac, time to lower your arm angle a little bit and keep your fingers on top of the ball and see if we can't run that ball around like Charlie Morton and Roy Halladay.
Well, he is now 1 out away from his 2nd career complete game shutout. He did it against the Cubs, as we mentioned earlier, on the 30th of September of 2009. In that game, he threw 119 pitches. Here he's thrown 105. Looking for his 4th 1-2-3 inning. He's been dominant since the get-go. He's walked 2. He's struck out 2. He's been a ground ball machine by and large tonight. Reds were shut out 13 times last year. Bruce ripped to center field, way back, and gone. There goes the shutout, and that's the first home run of the year for Jay Bruce.
Man, oh man, how hard do you have to hit the ball to get it out of here tonight? I mean, this wind is gusting in probably excess of 25, 30 miles an hour, and into the teeth of that wind. Jay Bruce goes yard. That's the only mistake that Charlie Morton has made on the night.
That thing was hit to straightaway center, and when it came down on the hillside, the grassy hillside in center, it was pushed all the way to the left over there by the bullpen. Ironic that Bruce hit his first home run of the season last year in the 13th game of the season. And I'll be darned if he doesn't do it again tonight. There's where the ball landed. At least it rolled down to the wall, but in that area. Miguel Cairo has a hit tonight. Garrett Jones battles the wind and makes the catch. And Charlie Morton, a winner of only 2 games a year ago, has now won 2 this year without a loss as he defeats the Reds tonight by the final score of 6-1 here at Great American Ballpark.
I'll tell you what, the Pirates came in here riding a 4-game losing streak. The Reds were happy to get off the road. They had an off day yesterday after their West Coast trip, which saw them go 3-3 on the road, and they really thought they would come down here and take advantage of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates ran out a young pitcher tonight, and Charlie Morton, man, oh man, he's got some more very good baseball ahead of him. This Pirates team, this is not the same old Pirates team we've seen the last few years. They're a little bit more enthusiastic. Clinton Hurdle's got them going in the right direction. The Reds need to regroup and come back and get them tomorrow.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. The Pirates win it tonight 6-1. And for a preview of what's coming up on Reds Live, let's send it downstairs to Jim Day.